System leaders and researchers are speaking out about the importance of federally funded medical research.
This comes after a federal judge blocked the Trump administration from making cuts to the National Institutes of Health funding. That happened just this morning.
WMTV's Nicole Herzog joins us now with more. Nicole, university leaders say UW-Madison research has a major impact on the state's economic growth.
Yeah, while the measure has been blocked for now, UW System President Jay Rothman says he believes that's only temporary. If the cuts do go into effect, court filings show UW-Madison would stand to lose at least $65 million a year. Those funds cover the indirect costs related to research, including technology, safety programs, and other operating expenses. University officials say NIH-funded research at UW-Madison has generated billions of dollars. Thousands of jobs, and over 400 startup companies in Wisconsin.
Research has certainly enormous economic impact, but it has so much more than that. It provides that opportunity for current researchers to do their work, to grow the next generation of researchers that will do great things. But most importantly, it provides hope, and it provides the opportunity to improve lives.
Rothman says at the UW system level, he's introduced a hiring freeze, restricted travel, and is looking at other ways to handle proposed cuts in federal funding. For now, live in studio, Nicole Herzog, WMTV 15 News.
Nicole, thank you. The government can either decide to drop the proposed cuts or appeal the judge's decision. If it appeals, the injunction would remain in effect until there's a ruling by a higher federal court.